This is a 1992 Toyota Corolla station wagon, and it's a very cool, very retro station wagon. But it may not be the cool station wagon that you're thinking of, like a Mercedes-AMG or even a Buick Roadmaster. This is a very sturdy, reliable vehicle. And when we think of station wagons today, though, we might think of Subarus like Outbacks or Crosstreks. But join me today as I show you all of the quirks and features of this 92 Toyota Corolla station wagon. Let's start with a brief overview of the Toyota Corolla. First introduced in 1966 in Japan, by 1974, the Corolla had already become the best-selling model in the entire world, a place that it has maintained or been near to ever since. And in 2021, the 50 millionth Corolla sold. But with all those Corollas sold, what makes this one different is that it's a wagon. And what's cool about the wagons is they continue to be sold even after this generation had ended. This is a sixth generation, originally made in 1987, but Toyota would continue to sell these long after the seventh generation was built and available. In fact, you could still buy this very Toyota Corolla wagon in South Africa until 2006. And while all of the regular sedan Corollas being sold in the United States were made in Toyota's Fremont, California or Ontario, Canada plant, this one and a lot of the wagons were made still in Japan. Even cooler, there's an all-wheel drive version of the Toyota Corolla wagon that was available. Sadly, this one is just front-wheel drive, but the all-wheel drive ones are definitely more sought after, much cooler, and sell for much more. In the United States, all versions of the Corolla were powered by one of three different variants of the trusty 1.6-liter inline four. This one happens to be one of two variants that were fuel injected. And you might think that this has about as much power as a modern day Cub Cadet rototiller, but it's actually got some pep in its step. It's a peppy vehicle that can keep up with the demands of everyday city driving. And this is where the Toyota Corolla earned its fame, for its legendary reliability. The elegance comes in the simplicity of design, a simple four-cylinder inline engine made with Toyota quality. There's nothing complicated about it. It just works. I mean, a 1990s Toyota, is there anything ever in human history more reliable than this? And now starting with the quirks and features of the exterior. Now, the first thing that probably comes to mind is how different this looks than a modern station wagon. But speaking of modern station wagons, there really aren't that many available. You might think of the Subaru Outback or the Volvo V60, and that's because this segment of the utilitarian cargo capacity, all day, everyday family vehicle has been taken over by the crossover segment, which are designed to be beautiful and have clean, flowy lines. This 92 Corolla, on the other hand, has nice straight lines, right angles, almost DeLorean-esque. You see, in 92, station wagons were station wagons, and they weren't trying to pretend to be anything else. People knew that a cube holds more than a sphere, and that's what we have going on right here. Look at this on the roofline. It's like a rain gutter like you have on your house, and the rain could just come down here, go into this channel, and sweep off the sides, something you don't see on a modern day car. Check out these tires. They are so itty bitty. They are a 13-inch wheel. I'm not even sure what this is. It feels like aluminum or maybe plastic. I'm not sure. It's a 13-inch rim with a 22-inch diameter tire. It looks like it belongs on a go-kart. This one is quite vintage. This tire has authentic Arizona cracking in it, and it happens to be 14 years old, so it's just getting broken in. One of my favorite exterior features of the 92 Corolla wagon is this little luggage rack. So as you know, this was marketed as like a family utilitarian vehicle where you could do everything you needed to in suburbia. But if you managed to fill up the cavernous cargo area, you still had this cute, handy luggage rack. You just don't see things like this on modern vehicles, but it was perfectly sized to where you could still get two decent suitcases while you and your family drove to the airport to catch your flight to Daytona Beach on TWA. Everything about this just screams 80s and 90s styling. I mean, look at these side markers just screwed to the side of the body. They're certainly not beautiful, but back in the day, it was all about function over form. Scared of your doors getting dinged? Toyota engineers thought of that. Let's just glue a strip of rubber to the outside of the door. You wouldn't see it today, but it works. Here's another interesting quirk. It's the front bumper. It is perfectly positioned right here to take out someone's kneecaps. This was known as the John Gotti model, and it is just made of solid black rubber, completely unfinished, not pretentious, not in chrome or steel, not even painted to match the body color, just plain solid black rubber. When have you seen anything like this ever since? New for the 1989 model year was Toyota's amazing VSSC technology, which we can see going on right here in the front quarter panel, although it does exist throughout the vehicle. This was a dealer installed option available in the New England area as well as the Midwest. The V stands for ventilation, allowing all kinds of clean, cool air, perfect on those hot days and balmy summer nights. The first S in VSSC stands for speed. Not only did these serve to ventilate the passengers, but also increase the speed of this trusty vehicle. You see, clean, cold air could come into the engine bay, cool the engine, allowing it to perform better, and also it lightens the vehicle by removing weight. But perhaps VSSC was best known for the self-cleaning feature. You didn't have to worry about mud or grime or road salt getting in here because it would self-clean and drain out the bottom, preventing your vehicle from becoming a rusty bucket. That VSSC technology can also be seen through the rear quarter panels here. And now we move on to the interior quirks and features of the 92 Corolla Wagon. And this really is what screams 1990s. Just look at the center stack. It's not designed to be beautiful or elegant. It is just utilitarian and functional with simple buttons and sliding knobs. The one modification that this example has had is we have, looks like an early 2000s CD player. And as we come down, we now have this completely open black box where what could you put in there? Well, the possibilities are endless. Possibly 30 packs of gum or maybe 4 pairs of gloves. And then below that, we have an ashtray because although this cup holder is too small to fit a soccer mom's new modern Stanley thermos, she can sit here and enjoy a Camel menthol while she waits for her children. Now this AC button doesn't seem to work, very un-Toyota-like, but the traditional sliders will always work, unlike modern cars with their gizmos and buttons and dials. Interestingly, this setting right here allows you to get air on your face and feet. The center storage compartment is very small, maybe 5 inches in width, which would, again, never pass in today's modern vehicle standards. Inside, it's pretty Spartan. There's probably, these little channels were made to hold cassette tapes. I think you could probably hold 6 of them. And you know, what else do you need in 1992? Now this DX trim of the station wagon, it has power nothing. The windows are roll-up style cranks, but again, along with the theme of this wagon, it is reliability, it is simplicity, it just works. Power mirrors? No, you've got this little knob thingy and you can reach across while you're driving, which is actually doable because of how narrow this vehicle is, and you can just adjust your mirror on the fly. You just don't see steering wheels like this anymore. I really appreciate the simplicity. Thin diameter makes it real easy to grip. The horn doesn't work right now, but you know, whatever, that's okay. Everyone's going to be looking out for you on the road. And you can even maybe see this one is covered with decades of hand grime, making it somewhat sticky in the sun. And here's something else that is very 1990s and 1980s, a plush velour-like dash mat. You would never see this today. This would just be something you stuck to your dash with Velcro, and its job would be to protect your dash from splitting. So I'm not really sure what happened here, but clearly it didn't do its job. Now here's a couple more features that I really appreciate about this 92 Corolla. One is the key. This isn't some fancy key fob that costs $300 at the dealer if you lose it. This is just a hunk of metal that fits in your ignition cylinder. And if you need an extra one, you can go to the hardware store. I mean, look at this handbrake. I love this also. You just pull it up It's got a button. You release it. Let's talk safety features because this has almost none. It has no airbags. It has no ABS. It has very thin sheet metal doors, but what it does have is a seatbelt that you cannot forget to put on. It stays attached to the door. And as you come in, it just perfectly sits across your shoulder. And you even have an extra lap belt down here that you can put on for some extra safety. Moving on to the second row, it's pretty basic. Cloth seats have held up great over all these years. You don't have the most legroom in the world, but still decent for children or shorter people. Now, for reference, I'm very tall. I'm 6 foot 19 inches, and my knees are hitting the back of this seat, but I do still have plenty of height and headroom. Moving on to the cargo area, the rear hatch opens up to reveal ample storage for your family. This is what makes a station wagon a station wagon. You can fit so much more in here than the sedan version of the Corolla. The second row seats can even fold, not flat I would say, but about a 40-degree angle, increasing your cargo capacity. Not quite long enough for most people to sleep back here, but great for a Costco run, which I'm not sure if that existed in the 1990s. My favorite quirk of the cargo area is when you lift up to reveal the spare tire storage. This is made of wood. This has been routed out of plywood. You don't see car manufacturers using lumber anymore, but this was how they did it in 1992 Japan. They had this rod attached. You could put it right here to hold it up hands-free while you impressively get out your full-size spare. The 92 Corolla is a utilitarian vehicle that can do everything. It's a jack of all trades. It's not a master of one, but it's pretty good at everything. You could even take out this spare and you've got this metal box in here. Fill it with ice, fill it with a 30-pack of your favorite domestic light beer, and you are now tailgating. All right, we are now driving the 92 Corolla station wagon, and my thoughts are, well, it's very much an 80s, 90s Japanese station wagon. You're sat very low to the ground. The vehicle itself is very narrow. And although the steering is pretty vague, because of the wheelbase, because of the narrowness of the car, it's actually surprisingly nimble. So it might be a little hard to hear me because you might think that we have like a high schooler's modified exhaust in the back, but we don't. This exhaust just rusted out for when this vehicle spent its first decade or two in Illinois. Slamming on the throttle here, we're getting up to speed and it's fine. My thoughts on the 1.6 liter inline four, 102 horsepower would never fly in 2025, but in 1990 and even still today, it's fine. It keeps up just fine with daily traffic. I wouldn't want to take this on a road trip. I wouldn't want to, go on a multi-state, interstate, trying to keep up with 75, 80 miles an hour. But for around town, it's completely fine. It's peppier than you think it would be. The main thing that I come back to with the driving experience is just how low you are to the ground. You don't see this in modern cars anymore. We are like inches above the street. And the thing that's kind of unnerving is even just like a modern mid-sized pickup truck, like a Nissan Frontier, for example, their bumper is going to be right here at decapitation level. You do not want to be in a 92 Corolla station wagon and get into an accident. Now, demand for these cars is actually coming back. They're cool, they're fun, they're boxy in a retro sort of way. They are popular in the hipster community, like people, college kids who want to look cool without seeming like they're trying to look cool. The ride is not, I wouldn't say, overly comfortable, but it's also not terrible. The seating position, this is a common Toyota thing that persists to this day. They'll bolt the seats right on the floor. You're practically sat on the floor, and And it can be a little uncomfortable for taller people. This is a big problem in the current Toyota Tacomas. But again, this vehicle was not designed to be comfortable. It is meant to be reliable and dependable and to do a lot of things well at an entry-level price. And they knocked that out of the park with this car. So looking at the Doug score, the Corolla Wagon gets a 6 when it comes to fun factor, and a 7 when it comes to cool because of its retro classic vibes that are coming back into style now. Something to point out on the daily categories is quality. You cannot beat the quality of a 1990s Toyota. They're simple, they're easy to fix, they're cheap to fix, and they'll run forever. And that's what also gives it a 10 in value for a total Doug score of a 53, making it in line with a Volkswagen Phaeton, a 350Z Roadster, and even a modified Sprinter van and a 4Runner TRD Pro. Do you hear that rattle? It's like the broken exhaust makes the entire car shake, like the plastic trim.